What's up with y'all? Bottom right, it's 2:40 a.m. I'm always doing my videos at nighttime for some reason. We got SpongeBob's darkest episode. Now, we ain't never done none of this on my channel before. If it turns out good, we finna keep doing more. I'm gonna talk as much as I can. It's only a 11-minute video, but we finna.
These are the 3 darkest SpongeBob episodes. Stick around till the end to uncover just how deep and unsettling this show can be. The episode Earworm starts with SpongeBob. He was grilling the last patties for the day while singing a song. This song was quite irritating, which Squidward makes clear to SpongeBob. After grilling the last patties, SpongeBob starts preparing to close the Krusty Krab. But he couldn't help but sing the song from earlier. He kept singing it over and over until Squidward came to shut him up again. Squidward tried listening to the radio to calm himself down. But the song that came on was the same one SpongeBob was singing. SpongeBob snatched Squidward's radio and sang along with it. In case you haven't guessed, this song will play a big role in this episode. Mr. Krabs told Squidward and SpongeBob they could leave for the day, but SpongeBob didn't hear him because he was distracted by the song. Eventually it ended, and he came back to his senses. He then flew out of the Krusty Krab, but that song was still stuck in his mind. As he was flying, he passed by a music shop and heard the song playing from inside. This is where SpongeBob's obsession starts to go too far. After he got home, he put on the record and started waltzing around his house while singing along. Hours went by, but SpongeBob didn't notice. When he realized how late it got, he hurried to bed. But as he was dozing off, something strange started to happen. He started whistling the song, only he wasn't doing it. He tried to stop it, but he couldn't. It was at this moment that something got inside SpongeBob, an earworm. For those who don't know, an earworm is a catchy song or tune that runs continually through a person's mind. But in this case, SpongeBob had an actual worm inside his ear. SpongeBob didn't fight.
Does that just mean something that, like, you got like a song stuck in your head? Is that what he's trying to say? You have a song stuck in your head?
His urges for long. He went back downstairs to listen to the song again.
I have an earworm all the time then. Brand new Lamborghini, fuck a cop car.
The next day, SpongeBob, as usual, went to the Krusty Krab, but he didn't look very well.
It was nigga look like he got fucking STDs.
Clear he hadn't slept. Mr. Krabs pointed out to SpongeBob that he was almost late that morning, but all SpongeBob could
now this nigga automatically go back to normal. I know y'all seen that. Nigga snapped out of it.
Here was the song coming out of Mr. Krabs' mouth. This song had completely taken over SpongeBob, but he tried to resist. SpongeBob eventually gave in and just sang the song over and over. This interfered with his work, which almost drove away Mr. Krabs' customers. Mr. Krabs warned SpongeBob that if he were to sing it again, he would send him home for the day. SpongeBob tried explaining how he couldn't control it, but Mr. Krabs didn't care. Once again, he tried to fight it, but he just couldn't. It was at this point that he started going crazy over it. In the next scene, the earworm had taken complete control over SpongeBob's mind. The once jolly Sponge was now gone. He started behaving erratically as if he'd completely lost control, but he couldn't fight it this time. He then went on a rampage and broke out of the Krusty Krab.
I do not remember this part. Like, I feel like I remember the earworm part of him singing, but I don't remember him doing none of this extra shit.
While singing the song and laughing to himself. Just as he was going out, Sandy walked in and saw SpongeBob. She knew something was up. Squidward explained how he was obsessed with the song. She realized something bad could happen to him and told Squidward and Mr. Krabs that they must save him. SpongeBob wandered aimlessly around Bikini Bottom. His mental state got worse by the second. SpongeBob eventually got to his house, but not long after, Sandy, Mr. Krabs, Squidward, and Patrick also got there. They quickly found SpongeBob and tied him up. Sandy found out what was wrong with him and explained that he had an earworm inside him, and the only way to get him out was by playing another catchy tune to drive him out. Both Sandy and Mr. Krabs tried their best to get it out, but the earworm didn't leave. Squidward gave it a go and managed to finally free SpongeBob from the earworm. The following night, Squidward was admiring
Another man, I do remember that. I remember that real well, actually.
the tune he played and started humming it. Just as he was dozing off, the earworm forced its way inside Squidward, and then the episode ended. Compared to what's to come, this episode isn't very dark, but still, it features mature themes such as insanity.
He said to what is about to come, so like we got more better stuff coming, and that's what I'm hoping, because this was not scary. I want something dark, you know.
We watch as SpongeBob gradually loses his grip on his own mind, which was completely overtaken by the worm, and if his friends hadn't stepped in, who knows what could have happened. The next episode is Krabby Patty Creature Feature. This episode starts at the Krusty Krab. SpongeBob had just made 2 Krabby Patties, which Mr. Krabs delivered. But the customers didn't like the patties. Nothing was wrong with them, but they wanted to try something new. The whole restaurant agreed with them. They all wanted to try a new dish. Mr. Krabs promised everyone that he'd be back with something different. He walked into the kitchen and took SpongeBob with him to his secret laboratory. Sandy was there. She was working on something.
I don't think I remember this episode.
She had just finished making a new artificial Krabby Patty. SpongeBob was immediately skeptical. He didn't feel right about it. But Mr. Krabs didn't care and asked Sandy to make him more. This is where the episode starts to get disturbing. Sandy came out with a bunch of patties and each customer jumped in to get one.
Yeah, I've never seen this, I'm not gonna lie.
A few hours later, the customers had finished eating, but nothing was wrong. But this would all change with Mr. Krabs, who was the first to face the side effects of the patty. Just after he finished eating his new patty, he started changing. First, his body started to twitch, and then he started to grow sesame seeds on his back. Then he fully transformed into this.
That's nasty. Yeah.
This happened to Sandy as well.
I said, yeah, I do not remember this.
Followed by everyone else in the Krusty Krab, except for SpongeBob and a fish named Frank. SpongeBob managed to escape, but Frank wasn't so lucky. One of the patty zombies tore a chunk out of itself and fed it to Frank, turning him into a zombie as well. The zombies broke out of the Krusty Krab and started infecting everyone around them, like the mailman, Patrick, and even Bubble Bass. SpongeBob witnessed all this from behind his grill, but he couldn't do anything about it. He was scared. He felt bad about all that was happening. But just as he was thinking this, Sandy found him and tried to turn him into one of them. But SpongeBob managed to escape and he hid in a dumpster. Not long after, everyone in Bikini Bottom had gotten infected, all except 3 people. One of them was SpongeBob, and the other was Perch Perkins. Perch was doing a news report and tried to interview SpongeBob, but they were interrupted when Squidward shoved a piece of himself inside Perch Perkins. Before he transformed, Perch told SpongeBob that the last person who wasn't infected was Plankton. So SpongeBob made a run for it to the chum bucket. When he eventually got there, he tried explaining everything to Plankton. Plankton didn't believe him at first, but this quickly changed. All the zombies broke in. They infected Karen first. Then Mrs. Puff picked up Plankton and infected him, leaving SpongeBob as the only survivor. SpongeBob was cornered. He had nowhere else to go except up. So he climbed the packets of chum that Plankton had in a desperate attempt to save himself. But he accidentally tore a packet and some of the chum came out of the bag. Patrick swallowed a bit of it and transformed back to normal. Chum was the cure for the virus. SpongeBob quickly found this out and proceeded to feed the zombies chum, saving everyone. The customers from earlier took back what they said about the new patty and said that they preferred the vintage one and they shouldn't try to replace it. This episode doesn't deal with any mature topics like depression, insanity, or any of the sorts. But while it doesn't deal with these elements,
Man, fuck all that. I want a Krabby Patty.
this episode was still very disturbing to watch.
Give me a burger.
The theme of this episode was horror. We've had a few scary episodes in SpongeBob, such as Graveyard Shift, but this episode goes above and beyond. The transformation scenes were the most disturbing. The fact that characters ripped themselves apart and fed pieces of themselves to other fish was also a twisted concept. Although this episode takes the cake for the most disturbing episode, it's still not the darkest. The darkest episode is Nasty Patty. This episode also starts at the Krusty Krab. A health inspector had just arrived at the Krusty Krab. Mr. Krabs managed to smell the health inspector from his office. He ran to the kitchen to inform SpongeBob. He told him that if the health inspector found even one thing out of place, he'd shut the Krusty Krab down. So they must provide the best possible service. And that's what they did. The health inspector requested one of everything. Although usually Mr. Krabs wouldn't want to give out free food, this was an exception because the fate of the Krusty Krab was at stake. So they gave him everything on the menu until they only had one thing left, which was a plain Krabby Patty. SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs celebrated for a bit because the Krusty Krab was close to passing. But they were interrupted by breaking news. The news reporter said that a phony health inspector was going around restaurants trying to get free food. This infuriated Mr. Krabs. He thought that the health inspector that came to the Krusty Krab was the fake one. So, to get back at him, SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs added a lot of nasty stuff to the Krabby Patty they had to give him, until they finally created this. The Nasty Patty. SpongeBob delivered the patty, but before the health inspector could take a bite, a fly flew into his mouth and started suffocating him. SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs didn't see this because they were hiding beside the grill, but shortly after they got up and saw him choking. They thought that this was because he ate the patty. Instead of helping him, they stood there and laughed. The health inspector got up to find some help, but he slipped and hit his head. Shortly after, another news broadcast came on. The news reporter said that the fake inspector was found, and this was him. This meant that the health inspector out there was the real one. Mr. Krabs started to get worried that the Krusty Krab was not going to pass now, but he was even more shocked to find out that the health inspector had died. Mr. Krabs manipulated SpongeBob into believing it was his fault. He then insisted they bury the body before anyone found it. And that's exactly what they did. Mr. Krabs led the way, while SpongeBob dragged the health inspector's corpse. It's not very clear where they took him, but it seemed to be on the outskirts of Bikini Bottom. SpongeBob looked disturbed, as you'd expect him to be, but Mr. Krabs almost seemed annoyed. He told SpongeBob to dig a hole. SpongeBob was still in shock by the whole deal, but this had to be done. They eventually buried him and then walked away from the scene. Mr. Krabs told SpongeBob that he couldn't tell anyone about this, but before he could finish, the police showed up. They jokingly said that they were going to arrest them and offered to drive them back to the Krusty Krab. It then started raining and the dirt that covered the health inspector washed away, which caused him to slide downhill. SpongeBob placed the shovel in the trunk, but he looked distraught. Mr. Krabs told SpongeBob to keep his cool, but just then, the corpse of the health inspector slid right next to them. Mr. Krabs started freaking out and told SpongeBob to load the health inspector in the trunk while he distracted the cops. Mr. Krabs then told SpongeBob that once they arrived at the Krusty Krab, he should take the corpse to the back and stow it in the freezer. When SpongeBob arrived, the back door was locked, which forced him to enter from the front. He eventually made his way to the back and did what Mr. Krabs told him. The police were just about to leave, but one of them didn't have ice in her drink, so she went to the back to get some. Mr. Krabs tried to stop her, but she insisted. Before she could open the freezer, Mr. Krabs admitted to the crime and framed SpongeBob for it. But when she opened the freezer, the body wasn't there. Just then, the health inspector showed up. Both policemen struck him in the head, thinking he was a zombie. But he wasn't a zombie. He wasn't dead either. It turns out that he never really died. He was just unconscious. He then passed the Krusty Krab in fear of being hit in the head again, and the episode ended. This episode had a few dark traits, the most prominent being the murder. Although the health inspector didn't die, none of the characters knew this. The fact that SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs were laughing, just as this fish was dying in front of them, is one of the most messed up things
I like pure horror, you know?
in the entire show. Mr. Krabs is shown to be the most selfish person. He betrayed SpongeBob, even though he was pressured into helping Mr. Krabs. SpongeBob, who keep in mind is basically a child, had to drag a corpse and bury it. And what's worse is that they didn't even feel guilty, they were just worried about the consequences. There you have it, the 3 darkest episodes in SpongeBob. If you want to see more, check out part 1 or click on another video. Stay safe and
Yeah, not gonna lie. I'd watch a video like this again, like one of these I'd watch.